I want to recognize Representative Miller-Meeks now. 5 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you much, Madam Chair, and I thank the Ranking Member Keller as well, and thank you to the witnesses who are appearing today. Although I'm a doctor and a lieutenant colonel, retired lieutenant colonel from the Army, and a congresswoman, my first job actually was at 13 picking cucumbers in Southeast Texas. I also live in an agricultural state, and my district is a heavy agricultural district. I have participated in over 20 county fairs and the state fair, and I know the pride that young people have, even at a young age, of showing their rabbits, their chickens, their calves, that they have bottle fed, their hogs, and even their llamas, to name just a few of the animals and livestock that they've shown. I've also seen them develop tremendous amount of pride in their work and increased work ethic, ability to problem solve, to adapt, to improvise, and the tremendous confidence they have in raising an animal, showing an animal, talking about their animal, and develop public speaking skills. And it's interesting, we're having this hearing, and since the time I was sworn into Congress on January 3rd of 2020, I have asked this question numerous times, both in education and labor, and in the select subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic task force, that not once have we had a hearing on the repercussions of closing schools and masking children. Not once have we talked about the mental health mental health consequences on our children, the rate of suicide. And I brought up numerous times, actually put forward an amendment in the Ed and Labor Committee during the ARA funding in order to have $2 billion of the ARA funding go to mental health in K through 12 and $2 billion go to mental health in undergraduate colleges. And not one Democrat voted for that amendment. So here we are talking about family farms, the majority of which are family farms in which children may work, trying to cultivate people into the family farming business. And instead, we're talking about overreach, overregulation by the federal government and the concern that we have on corporate farms and how this would enhance that. Not once have we talked about the rate of youth suicide from the COVID-19 pandemic and shutting down schools at the behest of the teachers' unions. Not once have we talked about the learning loss, which we finally have seen that the New York Times acknowledged just recently, and another article was in the Wall Street Journal. So I find it interesting that we're talking about a section of the economy where children or young people, youth, may work on their family farm at a young age, develop tremendous schools, and perhaps we would rather have children stay indoors and our youth stay indoors and watch television or play video games, knowing that that doesn't put them at risk of obesity, it doesn't put them at risk of isolation, it doesn't put them at risk of any other health conditions, but yet we're going to talk about this one sector. I find that to be unconscionable that we will not address all of the negative repercussions on children, to include loss of learning, mental health, suicide, addiction, and overdose, to, as my colleagues have mentioned, on our southern border, wide open with the amount of drugs and fentanyl coming across our borders, with record numbers of overdoses and drug addiction. So I will just ask a simple question, Ms. Boswell. 98% of all farms in the U.S. are family farms, most of which are small businesses. What impact would changing Department of Labor regulations and the way the Obama administration proposed in 2011 and we're doing now have on small family farms? In your experience, do these businesses have in-house counsel and compliance staff that they could address the administrative and regulatory burdens?
Thank you for the question. As I've said before, and in my testimony, had we not defeated the Obama administration's proposal on child labor, it would have had dramatic impacts on the family farm, despite assertions to the contrary. Farmers, again, 98% are family owned, and most farms don't have headquarters. They have their homes. They're doing business over the kitchen table. And they're walking out, their commute is from the front door out to their barns or to their machine shed to start the day. That was my experience, and that's the experience of most of my classmates and friends. They're savvy. no question about it. To operate a farm, you have to be savvy. However, they don't typically have HR teams. They don't have in-house counsel. They don't have a team with them that's going to manage the record keeping that's increased, let alone a record keeping burden as is proposed in this legislation that would add fines just for record keeping rather than putting resources towards educational materials or making sure farmers have access to prevent injury, to tools that they need to prevent injury on the farm with those working there.
Do you think that this would create more detriment to being able to have a family own and operate farms and lead to more big business corporatization of farms?
This, along with decreasing the interest of young people and impacting the desire of young people to go into farming, we already see consolidation. It is really hard to be a farmer. My dad just retired this year. And it's ending that cycle. My nephew is going to try to jump in, but it's going to be hard to find land and to have the capital investment. And that's why there's a lot of farming and ranching, young farmer and rancher programs, mentoring, training from USDA and state governments. Maybe we should keep those, but also start that interest at a young age and get that mentoring and real hands-on experience.
The lady's time is up.
Yep. Thank you very much. I was at the Farm Progress Show and all of those young 14 and 15-year-olds want to go into farming. This is detrimental practice, and we need to focus on the open border with people being sex trafficked, children being sex trafficked, drug abuse, and COVID-19 pandemic and learning loss. We need to concentrate on that. I yield back my time.
Thank you.